Welcome to All Can, No Can't, the podcast where we toss out excuses, face our fears, and reclaim control. I'm Jeff Luther, your guide to mastering the chaos and turning obstacles into opportunities. Whether you're an entrepreneur navigating the ups and the downs of building a successful business, or someone ready to rewrite the rules of your life, this is your space to grow, to push boundaries, and to embrace doing the hard shit that leads to greatness. Together, we'll explore stories of resilience, strategies for overcoming, and the mindset shifts that let you build a life on your terms. I use my experience with a life-altering diagnosis to help you find the can in every can't. So buckle up, because it's time to stop living in can't and start thriving in all can. You choose. Welcome back to the All Can, No Can't podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Luther, and this is our place where we turn obstacles into opportunities. A really special guest today, and I'm super excited to have a chat. I think we've got some parallels. Seems like we've had some of the same experiences in life. He's got some higher highs, but I think we've got the same lows. Today's guest is somebody who really knows what it takes to turn challenges into championships. Like literally turning challenges into championships, and we'll talk more about that. Cam F. Awesome is a 12-time national boxing champion, 3-time Olympic trials champion, and former captain of the USA national boxing team. But beyond the medals and the accolades, Cam's journey is one of resilience, grit, and the power of positive internal dialogue. That's hard to do. And you would be so shocked to see this dude and think that he was bullied as a kid. But he found confidence in the boxing ring. And I want to talk more about that. Cam transformed setbacks into opportunities. And that's what we're about. Finding the opportunity in that obstacle. Even bouncing back after being kicked off of the Olympic team, which hits me pretty hard. So now he's taken lessons he's learned in the ring to inspire others, speaking at schools, workplaces, events, all about resilience, mindset, and overcoming what might be perceived failures. Cam, dude, thank you so much for carving out some time to chat with us. I'm super excited to talk to you.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited for this conversation.
Yeah, so it's just so the audience knows, usually in a podcast, like you'll take a couple of minutes just to chat with a person, make sure there's a good fit, and then you save everything for the day of the podcast, at least with me. So I like to have that real dialogue. And one of the things about Cam, to look at him like you see this, the huge smile, but also on the inside, it's a tough dude. Cam, you were bullied as a kid. Shocked me.
Yeah, I was a normal sized child that just kept growing. Uh, but yeah, I got bullied in elementary school, and my at one point my bully had slammed my head into a brick wall, and I was sent to the hospital with a concussion. And my school's solution to this problem was to release me 10 minutes early so I could get home before he got to me. And now that I say it out loud as an adult, it sounds weird, but as a kid, I just thought that was normal.
Wow. Yeah, so as a kid, you're like, yeah, okay, I'll just work on my cardio.
But also it was an embarrassing walk home because I knew that I was like a coward. I knew that I was afraid. I was the first kid off school property, so in my mind, all the parents lined up in the pickup line knew that I was a punk and I was a coward, and that was the story I told myself.
Mm.
I made myself very good at avoiding confrontation.
Wow. It's funny that in that sentence you said I knew that I was a punk and a coward, but that was the story that I told myself. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
So tell me the difference between those two things. Well, you say I know in one hand, but that's the story that you told yourself. Was that story real?
It was real because I told it to myself.
Yeah. But if you ask one of those parents, you wonder how many would say, "Yep, there goes the punk and the coward." I bet a lot of them would say, "Man, that sucks for that kid. They can't find a better
They probably
solution."
They probably didn't even know why I was leaving the school. They
Yeah.
thought nothing of it. And that's the thing, we have it's spotlight syndrome. We so often think people are paying attention to us, and we put this pressure on ourselves, and everyone's so busy with their lives. Most of the time, people not even worried about you.
Man, oh yeah. People are worried. All right, so we think people are worried about us when they're too busy worried about what we think about them.
Yeah, yeah. How funny that is.
Right. All right, so that where you started your path to boxing?
No, so I didn't know what anxiety was, but I knew I was good at avoiding confrontation because something bad was going to happen. A fight would break out, I would get hurt, I was always in danger. And looking back at it, even when, kids give each other a hard time, like, shut up, stupid. I'm like, oh, he thinks I'm stupid. He hates me. And I became this super anxious person that was hard for me to make connections. And in ninth grade, I got into an altercation with a girl. A girl hit me a bunch of times. Of course, I'm not going to hit her back, but
Right.
the story was Cam got beat up by a girl. And what could be more embarrassing?
Wow. Yeah.
So that's when I decided I wanted to join the boxing gym because if I looked like a boxer, I didn't want to go to actually fight. I just wanted to do the workout so I could look like a boxer. Because if I look like a boxer, people would leave me alone.
Did it work out that way?
Yeah, but then also I learned once you know how to fight, you no longer have to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is true. That's funny. I've got three boys, and out of our three, my youngest is my favorite. I know we're not supposed to have favorites, but my youngest kid is my favorite kid, and and there's a story behind that. When he found out that I was doing a podcast, he was asking about it. And he's like, "Do you ever talk about us?" I was like, "Yeah, I mention you guys sometimes." He said, "Would you say that I'm your favorite on there one time?" So now every chance I get, I say that he's my favorite, and I tell him about the episode. But when he was 7, we put him in boxing for different reasons. Like he liked to fight. He woke up every day looking for a fight. He fought with his mom, he fought with his dad, he fought with his two older brothers. So that just kind of bled over into his life. So we were like, man, we got to find something to do with this kid. So then we put him into boxing, and he was like, this boxing, there's discipline involved with all this stuff. I'm not sure. I probably need to tone it down a little bit. So it helped him it kind of in a different direction.
Yeah, I see, and I'm a big supporter and a big advocate for people putting their children in boxing. Because what happens is, what's your son's name?
Knox, ironically.
Knox. That is a cool name. Uh, so let's say Knox struggles with confidence, and or he's getting bullied or whatever his issue is. He starts going to the boxing gym. He's hanging around boxers. He's doing the discipline things. He's hitting the bag, even if he's never getting in the ring to spar. Even if Knox can't fight for his life, the other kids are like, "Don't mess with Knox. He's a boxer."
Yep.
And then Knox starts walking with the confidence of a boxer.
Yeah.
And when you realize that you are less afraid, you're able to take more chances in life. You're able to break the ice with someone. You're able to make that connection and step outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I learned once you're able to do difficult things, everything else seems a little easier.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you learn that okay, I've done other hard things. Maybe just take a step. Maybe just make an effort.
Yeah. And what was great for me is I got to see that firsthand of the harder you work outside the ring, the easier inside of the ring becomes.
Oh, that's interesting.
I was so afraid of inside of the ring because that's where I avoided confrontation my whole life. So I knew I was going into literal war in the ring, and it would make me work out so hard. But I
You
fought in the biggest weight. I'm sorry, go ahead.
because you wanted to be so prepared once you got in the ring.
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
there I didn't know what hard work was until I was punched in the face for not working hard enough.
Oh wow. Yeah, so that was your different drive. I mean, dude, you're a 12-time national champ. Is that, would you say that's what it was? Just like over preparedness?
Oh yeah, my whole idea was uh is so I won my first boxing match and I was feeling myself. And
Yeah.
then I lost my second boxing match and my coach explained it to me. I was like, I lost. What does that mean? He's like, you don't get the bigger trophy. He didn't say work harder next time. He didn't tell me what I did wrong. He didn't give me any advice. He was very indifferent about the situation, as if it was just a casual part of what's supposed to happen. And he allowed me to look at it in a way that failure or a loss is just an opportunity to gain experience.
Yeah.
Your record doesn't matter, it's how much experience you have.
Right.
So if you have 100, if we're the same age and weight and you have 100 boxing matches and I have three boxing matches and we were to fight, who's supposed to win?
One with 100. That's who's
Yeah,
supposed to
because
win.
experience is that powerful.
Yeah.
And it's not 100% guaranteed, but as a betting person, you would
Right.
bet on I didn't even tell you the record. You could be 20 wins and 80 losses,
Right.
but that's how powerful experience is.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that record's secondary. Um,
So that's the way I looked at it when I approached boxing. So my goal was if a boxer has 50 fights, that is a lot.
yeah.
So my goal was I'm going to get 100 fights. And after I get to 100 fights, all the other fights are going to be against people with like 20 or 30 fights. It'll be so much easier.
Right on paper, right on paper, you've already won in their mind.
Yeah, and I had more boxing matches than anybody else in the history of the sport. That was my approach. That's how I
Wow.
won so much.
And by being good. I mean, that's always
Well,
part of it, right?
I, so that's everyone's primary thought. The the reason why I won so much is because I was good. The reason why I have almost 400 wins is because I was good. I've got 39 losses.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like what's the dog that bites more people every year? It's the golden retriever, right? I was like golden retriever, yeah, because there's so many more golden retrievers than any
Uh,
other dog.
that was my approach. I'm just going to outwork the system.
That's wow, that's awesome. It's like the 4-hour work week, kind of the same approach to it. Obviously, doing the opposite because you're absolutely working your ass off. But boxing is formed like that's a huge part of your life, right? It's obvious just in the few seconds in this conversation. You've formed a lot of your life around boxing. You've molded kind of around boxing, but you had some setbacks. Like you faced major setbacks. One of those I recall being kicked off of the Olympic team. Am I
Yeah,
remembering that right?
correct. I
Yeah.
got kicked off the 2012 Olympic team. I was the representative at super heavyweight, but I failed to tell the drug testing agency I was leaving the country. I went to fight in a tournament. They went to drug test me. I wasn't there. A missed drug test is a positive drug test because they show up to give you a random drug test.
Yeah.
Although I tested negative that same week to compete in that tournament in Azerbaijan, but because of that, I was suspended and kicked off the Olympic team, and it was truly heartbreaking.
Man. Yeah, so tell me about that. What was your response how yeah, heartbreaking is terrible, but how'd you get over it? What'd you do?
So I had a pity party. I tried to invite as many people as possible
That's right. Invite everybody that'll show up.
in the very beginning, but life goes on. And I realized because I realized I had to return to boxing. I had no other actual skills to make money or have a career. So I was like, okay, I got to go back to boxing. But I gained a lot of weight during my suspension. I needed to lose the weight, and I couldn't get myself to be consistent in the gym, and I was beating myself up. And I'm like, What's your problem, Kim? You loser, you fat idiot, your life's falling apart. And I realized in that moment, there's a difference between me in 2012 and the me that was walking to the gym in high school. Because when I was when I joined boxing, my boxing gym was 6 miles away from my high school. So
Right.
I walked 3 hours a day, 5 days a week with music. And it's what made me so successful in boxing so quickly because I went from that unconfident person to patting myself on the back, telling myself how amazing I was for 3 hours a day because I didn't have music. So I would make up stories, and all the stories I made up, I was kicking butt. I had all the championship belts, all the money, all the cars. I was the best. Everyone wanted to be my friend. None of it was true, but there's a correlation between how highly I spoke about myself and how well I did.
Yeah, but was it true? Was it true? That's the thing. Yeah. Isn't that funny? But it was also but it was also true that you were fat and lazy. You also made that true. That's wild.
Yeah. And I realized the success I found in my life is when I told myself a story where I was the winner. We all tell ourselves stories constantly.
Yep.
You Jeff, you might be walking by your wife and she doesn't even make eye contact with you. She walks right by you and you're like, "Oh, what's her problem?" You know, she's always and you told yourself a story about why she's mad
That's
and
right.
turns out her contacts weren't in and she didn't see you.
Right. Yep. Yeah, but I'm not hearing any of that because I've already made up the story.
But then when you approach her with the energy that she's being off-putting to you.
Right.
And then when she is off-putting to you, you realize that you're speaking your stories into existence.
Yeah.
So I decided I didn't like that I was calling myself fat and a loser. So I decided to change the narrative and change the character I was in the story I was telling myself.
How do you do that? Well, I have two questions. One, how do you acknowledge that you're telling yourself a story? And then how do you change the story?
So what I did, I don't advise everyone to do. Uh, I wanted to double down on the idea that I wasn't a loser. So I went out and I legally changed my last name to Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was, yeah, I, people write notes and affirmations like, I'm worthy, I'm worth it. I'm like, that's what this is. It's just an affirmation.
Right. I'm awesome.
I am.
No, nobody can argue with you.
Jeff, you are too.
That's
You
what
don't
you
have to
tell
change your
yourself.
last name to be awesome. You're Jeff, you're awesome too.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta remember it. You gotta believe it. You gotta believe it.
Yeah, you have control of the story you tell. So here's something I don't share too often, so it might be a little clunky. When I was like 8 years old, my mom went into the store and she left me in the car.
Right?
And it was like a bodega or something. And I remember sitting.
Are you feeling stuck? Overwhelmed? It's like you're fighting against something that you can't even see or name. I've been there, literally. I survived sudden cardiac death and I rebuilt everything. I've mastered the art of controlling the chaos. Now I coach a small group of high performers that are willing to do the work to do the same thing. No fluff, no excuses, we just get results. If you're ready to take back control, apply now at jeffluther.com. This is all can, no can.
In the front seat and looking at a bird on a fence, a chain link fence. And I was like, if I have magic powers, the bird will poop right now. And the bird pooped when I said that.
Oh my gosh.
My mind was blown. So, you know how the first 20 minutes of a superhero movie is a superhero trying to figure out their powers?
Right.
That was me trying to figure out how to harness my power.
You knew you had them. You just had to go find them.
So I came up with I have one wish a day. It's not a big wish. If it's too big, it alters the fabric of reality and all that. But I have
Right.
one small wish that's directly for me. And sometimes that wish is like if I take a test I didn't study for, my one wish of the day, and I would say that out loud, my one wish of the day is that I get a passing grade. Now, I won't wish for 100 because I know that's not possible, but I
Right.
would wish for a passing grade. And if I had a big wish or like a big test, I would save up a bunch of days in a row and I would say it out loud. These are my last 4 days' wishes. My wish for the day is this. So when I first started boxing, I would save up all my. I did this into like my late 20s, man. Uh, it's so weird saying out loud. So I wouldn't, if I had a fight
It's
on Saturday,
awesome.
I wouldn't use any of my wishes Monday through Friday
You'd hang on
and
to them.
have a big wish on Saturday. And I realized I can think things in that was my power. I could think things. And I didn't share this with too many people because you're not supposed to share your superpower. You see in the movies.
Right.
But
Gotcha.
I I so then as I got older, I learned about your reticular activating system.
Right.
It's a filter in your brain. Your brain takes in billions of bits of information every moment, not every second, every moment, moment, a lot of moments, a lot of information, math. So your conscious mind can't process all of it, so it filters it through your reticular activating system, your RAS. What you seek is what you find.
Yep.
If you go shopping for a yellow car all weekend, you don't buy one, you start seeing yellow cars everywhere. That's
Yep.
your RAS at work. It's why whichever car you happen to drive seems to be one of the most popular cars on the road. It's
Right.
not. It's what your brain's already looking for. Your brain can see all of the cars, but it wouldn't show it to you. It only shows you what you're looking for. So when I look back, every time I tried this, it worked. Every time I made a wish, it worked. I never really remember the times it didn't work. It was like I was searching for my own confirmation bias.
Yeah.
And what it did, whether it worked or not, is it gave me hope and it gave me fuel to move into the direction that I wanted to go to in life.
Yeah. Which is that's the power of positive thinking in a nutshell, right?
And I wish it didn't sound so woo-wooey, but it is what it is, man. And I wish people would, well, whatever you believe is real. So,
That yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's like what Bob Proctor no yeah, Bob Proctor says what is beliefs turn to things, right? Find the good ones. Choose the good ones.
yeah.
You are what
So,
you think.
perfect example of this. I have a friend who loves true crime. She works from home and listens to true crime podcasts all day. She gets off work, she watches murder mysteries. Let's sum up her day. She listens to people be murdered all day. She watches people get murdered in the evening. She likely dreams of people being murdered at night. You never guess this about my friend. She has anxiety.
Can't
We
imagine
create
why.
the reality we exist in.
Yeah.
So think about the things you consume. So while I was boxing, I used to listen to very violent rap music. That was my go-to. Rap
That pumped
music
you up.
because pumped me up for one, because it was violent. Two, it's the only place in life where someone can speak unapologetically about how great they are.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all rappers do. I'm the
Yeah.
best. I got all the money. I deserve all this. I'm better than you. And
Right.
I would listen to those music. I would listen to that music and repeat those things because those are my affirmations that I am great. I'm the best. But after I retired from boxing, I had to change who I was. And to do that, I had to change the music I was listening to and the things I was consuming because I didn't need to be angry anymore.
Ah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, think about the things you're consuming because that's who you become. If you start the day with the news in the background, death, murder, genocide, destruction, rape, if that's what you start your day with, what do you think you're going to start spotting in life everywhere?
Right. Yep. That's the cognitive bias. Is that what that is?
Yeah, cognitive bias, and it's negative facing because we're always looking for the bad naturally to keep us safe.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I was about to say, and I always relate it back to that movie, The Croods, that cartoon.
Never seen it. Oh, yeah, 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 the crew, yeah.
Yeah, with Nicolas Cage is the main dude, Like I tell my kids, you say these bad things. Think about the Crudes. What does Nicolas Cage say? Crude, I guess is his name, right? He's constantly, don't go outside, you'll get killed. Don't go by yourself, you'll get killed and eaten. Uh, don't do this, you'll get killed and eaten. Don't stray away from the group, you get killed and eaten, and all this stuff. Because we're constantly looking for that danger. Our brain is always telling us these negatives to protect us. So it's really like the brain is broken
Yeah. It's not broken. It just needs to be fine-tuned.
and directed, right?
Yeah, it's if you don't plant seeds, weeds will grow.
Yeah.
Tend to your garden. Your mind is your garden.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing. If you can focus on the positive, focus on the good things, and then you leave less room for the negative and for the bad. 'Cause you can only process so much, and that's what the brain does. It tries to distort reality and tell you a story and protect you.
Yeah. So how do you assess the things that you're consuming? Like think about the TV shows you watch. Is it true crime? Is it murders? Is it horror? Is it high stress? Uh think about the news you consume. Think about your social media feed. Think about the music you listen to. Think
Yeah.
about the group chats you're in. Yo, group chats. I used to be in some ratchet group chats, Jeff.
Yeah,
And
not.
you
I mean,
just
there's not a lot of good that comes from those.
no. And the thing is, they're fun and they're enjoyable, but it's temporary fun if those are negative things that's coming into your life, or even planting negative seeds, or the seven deadly sins, whether it's greed, gossip, or whatever the other five are, I can't remember right now.
Right.
But you have to start avoiding those things. But here's the thing, I love those things.
We all do. Because it takes the spotlight off of us. That's why gossip is so great. Hey, let's talk about how shitty someone else's life is.
Yeah.
Then we don't have to think about ours, right? A lot of people do that. That's a common thing, the gossip. It's if someone else's life is bad, we have a focus and we don't have to focus on the part of ours that's not going great.
Yeah.
So one question I'm dying to ask you is, I read somewhere you don't sit or you never did sit between rounds. Would you stand the whole time between rounds?
Yeah. Yeah. For one, I don't know why boxers sit down in between rounds. You should fight the way you train, and you should train the way you fight. In sparring in the gym, you don't sit down in between rounds. Why would I ever do that in a fight?
I don't know.
Also, psychologically, when the bell rings, I walk you to your corner and I watch you sit down. And then I walk over to my corner because I need you to know I'm not in a rush to get back there. This isn't that bad for me. I'm having a good time. I don't even need the water. I don't need my coach doesn't even get in the ring. My coach stands from outside the ring. I never let the coach in the ring with me. I
Oh
look at my
wow.
opponent because eventually they're going to have to stand up. And when they put their arms on their knees to push themselves up, it's a moment of weakness in their eyes. I look for that.
Yeah, we all know about that. Using your arms to help with your squat in workouts. Everybody sees that.
Yeah.
So how did you go from boxing, like from boxing to doing keynote speeches, to doing motivational speaking, and how's your experiences in the ring shaped that?
So I originally got involved in boxing because of bullying. And when I found success in boxing, I was drawn to go back to schools to talk about confidence, to talk about bullying, and to share my message with students. And as I travel around the country boxing, I would always reach out to schools and speak to students around the country. And I've realized I had a powerful message, and it evolved from just bullying to mindset to appropriate social media use to confidence to positive internal dialogue. And I was speaking at schools all across the country. I was doing, and then I I retired from boxing. I tried to retire from boxing in 2016, and I bought a van. And I lived in my van for a few years, driving around the country, speaking at about 200 schools a year.
Oh,
And
wow.
uh, I would also do professional development workshops for educators, uh, and somehow that got me into the corporate world, and I started doing talks for corporate audiences, which I realize adults are just children with the ability to drive.
And finance things.
Yeah, but you can't tell them to put their phone away.
Right. Yeah. I want to go back to something important. Like you talk about the stories that we tell ourselves. You seem to have done a pretty good job of identifying that, but also telling yourself a different story. I mean, you changed your last name to Awesome. I mean, that's an affirmation in itself. But how do you recognize how do you stop, and smell the roses, for lack of a better term? Because we get caught in this loop, right? We tell ourselves a story, then it becomes our truth. Well, if that's our truth, there's no point in even debating it internally. Why even have internal dialogue, because it's already our truth? But how do you get out of that loop? How do you find that different story?
I think you have to make a sacrifice.
I'm
That
listening.
sacrifice is going to look way different to everyone else, but there has to be a reason why you're doing what you're doing. And a reason you need a reason why. So I walk 6 miles to the boxing gym every day. And to me, every time I walked, there was a little deposit in the piggy bank. And when I got to the fight, I knew I deserved to win because I didn't put in that much work to lose. I'm invested.
Yeah.
So I learned that the more work I put in, the more invested I will be. And I lost track of the question. What?
Oh, wow. When you have that internal dialogue that's going south, you're caught in
Yeah.
that loop.
Yeah.
That becomes your truth. How do you
Oh,
stop? How do
yes.
you?
Yeah. It's the investment. So anytime I set a goal for myself, I find something. One time right after the pandemic, I decided to apologize to all the people I was beefing with. If I had any disagreements in my life, I reached out to these people and genuinely apologized. There was no reason for me to do this. It was people that I could have just done without speaking to, but I did it because I said if I apologized, I would become successful in my career. And I didn't apologize. I put my ego to apologize. I didn't put myself out to apologize to not become successful in my career. So I made a sacrifice of my ego, as silly as that seems. I think when you make that decision, there has to be weight put behind it because you could just say, okay, I'll just start speaking to myself nicely today. No, what are you willing to sacrifice or to give to mentally make yourself do it when you feel like not?
To
Does that make
commit?
sense?
I think so. Yeah, you have to commit, right?
Yeah. What are you but how much are you committed to? Because you can just, the diet that starts on Monday always fails.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Because why didn't you start it on Thursday the week before? Oh, I'll wait
you're
till
just look.
Monday. I'm gonna get through the weekend. I'm gonna eat all this good stuff all weekend.
Yeah. I bet you if you gave your friend $1,000 and said, "Hey, if if I don't get down to this goal weight by this amount of time, you can have this $1,000."
Right,
Like, what are you going to lose if you don't continue?
right.
For me, the reason why I was successful in boxing is I thought my safety depended on it.
Well, because
It
I mean,
was
in some ways, it did.
it did, but that fueled me. When I left boxing, I didn't have that fuel anymore. That fuel had to change.
Did you recognize that immediately?
Oh
You know?
yeah, I thought I was a super dedicated athlete
Yeah.
that works out all the time and never misses the gym. Turns out I was just terrified of getting beat up. When I wasn't boxing, I was like, why am I even going to the gym? When I see someone out running at like 6 a.m., I'm like,
Oh.
what are you training for? No one's gonna fight you.
So I want to stop you right there. This is a great example of discipline versus motivation, right? Because you were motivated. You were motivated to not get beaten up. And that's where you were putting in the work. But you remove that motivation when you're not getting in the ring anymore. Then you've got to find the discipline. You've got to create the discipline.
Yeah, and it was
Big
tough. And it was
difference.
a tough
Yeah.
realization because
Yeah.
I'm a super athlete. How come I not get in shape?
Right.
And what I had to do and is my buddy is signed up for like a bodybuilding competition July 5th. And I was like, cool, I'll do it too. I've never done anything like this. And honestly, I'm having ChatGPT be my coach. I've been dropping my body scans in it monthly, getting my
Oh my
meal
gosh.
plan, everything I'm doing workout wise. It spits out my workout every day. I'll tell it if I have an injury, it updates my workout. It gives me the weights. And I realize that we have all of the information. We have ChatGPT, we have AI. It's the actions that we're willing to take.
Yeah.
Because now I have the fear of taking my shirt off in front of a bunch of people, so I'm locked in right now, bro.
Right.
Locked in. I
Yep.
got I got my swole on this morning. All right, so I'm back refocused.
Right. Yeah, man. Yep. You gotta have the motivation. But that's the thing. I guess you have the discipline once the motivation's in place. You have the discipline to go find the motivation. That's the discipline. And then once you find that motivating factor, then you can do it.
Yeah, and it's not always easy to find. I usually dig myself in a hole, or put myself in a place where I'll get embarrassed if I don't win or go hard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like that Tony Robbins talks about that thermostat, right? Once your thermostat gets so high, you get uncomfortable, and you're like, oh, I need to sabotage this or mess it up somehow. Then it goes down, and then you start working hard again. You build it back up. Yeah, a lot of us do that. I want to ask you a question about fighting, because a lot of people like it's a different thing. Like everyone's prepared for battle until they get in the theater, right? Until you hit the battle, you think you're prepared for battle until you get in the battlefield. But your first fight, so you started boxing, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna box. So if nothing else, then I give the appearance that I can fight. Then your coach says, hey man, you're gonna fight. You're gonna get in the ring. What did you think?
Uh, First, I thought my mom's not going to be happy about this. And then I thought I need to find a way not to die.
Never, you never thought I need to find a way to get out of this.
Oh no, no, I, yeah.
That wasn't an option.
I didn't even consider that as an option. Yeah, I never even thought until about that till right now.
Aren't you glad I'm here to give that real positive influence, right? Just quit. Just quit. Honestly, man, that probably was not an option at the time.
Yeah, well, I say yes to everything. It's also
Yeah.
to my detriment.
Yeah. I had the same sickness.
Yeah, the more you say yes, the more opportunities happen. The more opportunity happen, the more chance you have to say yes. And it's like a tree that grows off with branches of yes, but no's cut it off at the root.
Yeah. Yeah, and people argue, hey, you never know what you'll miss by accepting everything. You never know what opportunity you'll get by saying no. I mean, there's no, who knows, man. Yes, man. That's right. There you go. It's like that Jim
Yeah, it's
Carrey
not
movie.
always economically the best decisions, but I've got stories.
Right. I can identify with that one for sure. Well, man, how do people get in touch with you? Oh, and I want to talk about EO. You were talking about EO. You were doing. I'm interested. Do you do like a workout for folks, like corporate groups? Do you do like a boxing workout and then do a talk, or do a talk, do a workout? How does that work?
Yeah, I've done it different ways. So I've done it to where uh I've done a few Sherm State conferences where I do a boxing workout with everybody first thing in the morning, and then do the opening keynote.
Okay.
And not the greatest idea, because even though I shower and an hour or two have passed, I'm still
Yeah.
sweating just a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's never as great like as comfortable as a speech. I've done it to where I've met up with uh with groups at a local boxing gym
Okay.
and done a boxing workout. I'll do uh, a boxing workout followed by a 60 or 90-minute talk, sign books, and connect with everyone after. And I also do that with gyms where I'll do like
Okay.
and it helps promote my speaking and books and all that. I reach out to gyms, and they have a membership appreciation day or a community day, and they invite all of their members, their significant others, and their children. I do our talk, answer questions, sign books, and it helps me dial in my speech even more. It gets me exposed to a different audience. Now
Yeah.
I'm new to Austin, so it's helping me get known around here. And the gym gets their members to be more motivated, more disciplined, and coming in more frequently.
Nice.
So it's a win-win. I love working with small businesses as a small business.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's fun, and they're much more supportive, just because of that connection. So, Cam, how do people get in touch with you? What's the easiest way?
You can find me at Cam F. Awesome on all social media, because I'm not famous enough for anyone to try to steal my name yet. And camfawesome.com. Keynote speaker, communication. I do communication workshops. I speak on resilience mindset. I MC events, and I answer DMs. What's up?
Nice. All right. Man, it has been so fun talking to you. I appreciate it. Thanks for the candor. And I love the superpower. That's cool.
You have it too.
If so, I'll be watching the birds now. Hey, if this bird poops, I have a superpower. All right, man. It was great catching up with you. I sure appreciate it. This
Yeah, man.
has
Thanks for having
been,
me.
yeah, you got it. All right, so this has been another episode of All Can, No Can't. It's our place to find the opportunity and the obstacles. And if Cam F. Awesome is not the poster child of resilience, then none of us are. Cam, thanks for sharing. And until next time. Thanks for listening to All Can, No Can't. If today's episode resonated with you, remember, it's not about the chaos you face. It's about how you choose to take back control. It's about finding that one small can in the can't you're given and grinding it down. Find your angle, carve your place out in the world, and get the fucking win. Do that by finding what you can do and not listening to what you can't. You choose. Be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Your support helps me reach more people that are ready to embrace the all-can mindset. And it lets them know there's someone that's willing to walk with them no matter how dark the path gets. You can find me on Insta at JDLuther 2.0 and allcan_no-can't. This is where I share more tips, stories, inspiration to help fuel your journey. And until next time, keep pushing boundaries, breaking limits, proving to yourself that anything is possible, even when you're told it isn't. Remember, life's not about can't. It's all can. Go prove them wrong.